going to be Melina Brooking starting things off here on Sunday afternoon in Central New York. Georgia Tech wearing their pink unis today. Set by Mira Liedermuller over to Greta Schlichter, her German teammate. Back set, far side, and overpowered Melina Brooking. The far side, we're going to hear a whole lot of another freshman for Georgia Tech that just shows how deep this team is in Larissa Mendez.
Absolutely. Mendez jumping to perfection there, timing everything right, and just too hot to handle for Melina Brooking.
Paola Pimentel, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil native. A lot of foreign influence on this Georgia Tech team. Near side, Searzant just sends it over. Trying to set up shot now for the Yellow Jackets. Dug out by Burt, long run, bump set by Harris Waddy. Roll shot, Schlichter. Sometimes you don't have to overpower the double block. Just have to get him off timing, and that's what Schlichter did there.
Sometimes, Griffin, the hardest shots to defend are the ones like Schlichter just put up that don't have all of that power. You see a little deflection there from the double block, just too much for the Yellow Jackets to deal with.
Harris Waddy leads this team in service aces. Hammered into the net, and Syracuse takes their first lead of the afternoon. So Harris Waddy on the campaign, 27 service aces. Talked about how she's dominant in the middle with 90 kills. That's second on the team. She's also first in blocks. 6 rotation type player for the Orange. Quick set in the middle, and that's how you side out if you're Georgia Tech. Deandra Pierce hitting the hardwood to tie it back up at 2.
Pierce just, you see here on the replay, getting a brilliant set that time from D'Amico and hammering that one home for Georgia Tech.
D'Amico, one of the best setters in the conference. That was Mendez back to serve. Another set, back row hit. It's gonna be Syracuse point. That was all Layla Smith. It was called for a violation regardless due to the back hit. You have to be past that 10-foot line in the back row. Georgia Tech was not, so an automatic point for Cuse.
Sometimes, Griffin, those points from violations are going to be huge for Syracuse, especially given how strong this Georgia Tech team really is.
Another hit from the back row, dug out by Searzant. Bump set by Burt, back to Schlichter. Tool off the block. Set near side with the left hand, that's out. And Syracuse starting to bruise some confidence early in the first set.
And we saw there Otene jumping up. Thought we were going to see her first kill of the afternoon, but that ball just tailing well outside the line, and now Syracuse ahead by 2.
Searzant coming off a career performance, a double-double. Schlichter got her hand underneath it, but Georgia Tech, much needed point there to cut the lead to 1.
And Griffin, you were talking about Veronica Searzant. Not very often where you see the setter leading the team in kills, and that was exactly what happened for Searzant against Clemson Friday night.
Yeah, 10 kills, a new season high. Coming around on the slide, Layla Smith. Oh my.
Layla Smith being set up with a silver platter that time, making everything count, slamming it down with enthusiasm.
This is nothing new for Syracuse. They've came out of the gates and had some really decisive first sets. They have been in losing fashion, but 25-23 losses, points and extras. Here today, they want to play spoiler against the number 11 team in the country. That will be a violation called on Syracuse on the double block. It was Raina Hughes in the net.
Sometimes when you're down low like that, just right in front of the net, you lose sight of where you truly are, get caught up in the net, and end up giving up a point in the process.
It's Liz Patterson from Birmingham, Alabama. First time she's checked in today. Back row player. Long set by Searzant over to Lauren McCabe, and McCabe. Another point for Cuse, and another 2-point lead. They've had this cushion, it almost seems like, all set long.
And Griffin, you can really see that confidence is playing a huge factor for the Orange here this afternoon. With that lead, recognizing that they can hang with the best of the best.
Alyssa Burt, captain of this team in her 5th year. Set by D'Amico over top, and some miscommunication between McCabe and Searzant. Didn't want to collide in the middle, and back and forth we go.
And that's one of those where you know you don't want to collide with your teammate, but it all comes down to leadership and communication, letting the other one know early on, that's my ball, and avoiding that one from dropping in.
Back set, Raina Hughes with the left hand for the lefty, and that one will go out of play. Georgia Tech, they're just so calm and poised. Nothing really rattles them. They've had many first sets all season long where they've actually lost the first set and came back and won. That's already happened 6 times this year.
It's all about resiliency, and that's exactly what Georgia Tech has shown over the course of this season.
McCabe was looking for a tip off the block. She does not get her wish, and Georgia Tech back with the lead. 7-6, still back there on the service line was D'Amico. Quick set. Tip off the block, easy dig for Schlichter. Harris Waddy just swatting it. Far side again. Long rally. Both teams in system, trying to catch the other lacking, and it will be the Yellow Jackets making it a 2-point game.
And Griffin, that's something that the Yellow Jackets have specialized in this season, finding ways to win long rallies. And it all just comes down to experience and leadership for this Yellow Jackets squad.
First ace of the day also goes to Georgia Tech. Already a string for Bella D'Amico.
And you see here, D'Amico, hard slap there on the serve. Schlichter just couldn't quite get her body underneath of it in time.
Syracuse trying to stop the bleeding. Free ball attempt. We'll see if Syracuse can take advantage. Set by Searson. Over to Hughes. Second time's a charm for number 22.
And Raina Hughes being involved heavily here early on. And that ball deflecting off the shoulder of Pimentel. As you see here on the replay, Smith, strong left hand, Pimentel not being able to handle it. You can see a little bit of frustration set in for the Yellow Jacket libero.
You're a leader, Mueller, checking back in. Syracuse currently running a 6-2 formation with 2 different setters just due to a whole lot of injuries. And this is the Georgia Tech we've been accustomed to seeing, is once they lose the ball, they get it right back.
And that's something that Coach Collier has really stressed with this Georgia Tech team. Find ways to get the ball right back.
Another thing for Coach Collier, wanted to really stress having a balanced offense. One barely goes out. Our line judge was even fooled for a quick second. Drew, we saw before the game, Bianca Bertolino, when she gets that serve down, she did it 5 times in a row. There's just nothing you can do to stop it, but a great look right there. That one might have been in off the end line.
That was very close, Griffin, possibly clipping the back of that white line, and something that, you know, is a huge turning point in the match.
That's why we're going to have a challenge on the Georgia Tech side. Smart challenge just in terms of momentum, what this could mean. We've seen Georgia Tech all season long go on crazy runs. And for Syracuse, it's been very troublesome to try to stop those runs against really dynamic offenses. But another look at that, it's about as close as it can get.
For sure. You know, that one, it almost seems too close to tell you. In that situation, if it's too close to tell, you almost have to go with the call on the court.
Bertolino, if this will be overturned, would be her 49th service ace of the season. She's first in the conference, 3rd in the nation in that category. With such a special talent, starting all now 22 matches, over 250 kills, averaging over 3 per set, hitting over 22%. Georgia Tech, it seems like their offense, they just have so many players on the pins that they can rely upon.
100%, and this is a Georgia Tech team, as we've talked about already, that is very deep in every position. You've got 2-3 women deep, at least, sometimes 4. And so whenever you're challenging for ACC titles the way that the Yellow Jackets want to do, that's something that you absolutely have to need.
Looks like our call might be on the floor, and it'll remain Syracuse point. Maybe not enough conclusive evidence to overturn that call.
And that's exactly the way it seems here, is that there just wasn't enough to overturn it. Too close to call, and in that situation, you've got to go with the ruling on the court.
So it's Melina Brooking back to the beginning of the rotation for the Orange. Brooking seeing limited action, and it's been in spurts all season long. This is now her 38th set played. She did have double-digit digs against Clemson on Friday night. Back set, Dug out, looked like by Brooking. It did hit the floor first, so second kill of the afternoon for Larissa Mendez.
And that was something right there, Griffin. You saw Brooking try to get her hands down, that ball just deflecting ever so slightly off the court before she could get her hands underneath it.
You can tell they really want to feed Mendez early and often for the Yellow Jackets. Off the top of the tape, Harris Waddy off balance type hit. Another one on the Georgia Tech side. This one was by Pierce, and it goes out of play. Still a 2-point game. Georgia Tech in the lead.
Deandra Pierce there just trying to go for that cross-court shot, something that is very difficult to master, but if you can get it down, it is deadly.
Especially with the way her shoulders were turned. She had to open them up last second. Very hard attacking play. Mendez just powering over the double block, and you can tell Layla Smith wanted that one back.
Absolutely. Layla Smith got her hands up to it that time, but unfortunate for the ricochet to roll off the outside of her right hand and drop down just in front of the net.
Another freshman on this Yellow Jacket team, Eloise Soares from Brazil, one of many Brazilians on this team, even her head coach. Quick set in the middle, that was Pierce. Now it's Searzan's try, block party for Georgia Tech. Somehow Syracuse gets it over. Some decisiveness, that finds the floor. First kill of the day for Afedo Mignon.
And you see Mignon over on that right side being set up brilliantly by Soares, and that one sneaking between a pair of Orange. But, you know, earlier in that rally, we saw the Orange working together as a team, something that Coach Ganesh-Ratnam will certainly be pleased about.
Nira Liedermuller trying to get everyone involved. That was a sprawling attempt for Georgia Tech to keep it alive. Bump set by Liedermuller, Schlichter setting. That one goes out. Haven't seen much from Tamara Otene so far. That was the first time really on this near side that she's been set. It's really been on the far side so far, Drew.
For sure, Griffin, and you almost wonder if that's not something by design. The Orange recognizing that Otene was going to be the main threat coming in, and perhaps the Yellow Jackets wanting to save her for later on.
Back to Syrezan. And set the most so far for Syracuse. Otene, another attacking error for the go-to option for Georgia Tech.
And it's all about timing the jump right, wanting to go cross court. That jump has to be timed even better. And Otene's shoulders just not squared up properly, overshooting that back corner.
Be the Savannah, Georgia native, back to serve, Veronica Syrezan. Job on serve receive for Georgia Tech. Make it 3 in a row for Otene, the Auckland, New Zealand native. We don't see this much from her.
Absolutely not. But the thing is, though, is Griffin, they always say bad luck comes in threes. And so now Otene perhaps a time to reset and get back to her game that we all know here.
Syracuse with a chance. Raina Hughes. I'm not even sure if that one was going to get over the top of the tape. And with a 4-point Georgia Tech lead, that's going to bring us to our first timeout. We have a good one in the first set between Syracuse and Georgia Tech, and we'll be back in just a second. So you're watching ACC Volleyball on the ACC Network.
We love our house. The outdoor space is great, but we do have invasive weeds.
Where is he? He's up here!
At least Geico makes bundling my home and car insurance easy. We save so much.
Stay away from my family!
For bundling made easy, go to geico.com.
Yeah, with Metro, there's no contracts, no price hikes, no surprises. There's not a yada yada.
Wait, Metro has not the contract yada yada?
Nada yada yada.
What's this surprise yada yada?
Price hike yada yada.
Yada 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 yada.
Contract yada yada.
And this yada yada.
I don't know, kid. That one makes sense.
Nada yada yada means wireless without the gotcha. No contracts, no price hikes, no surprises. Only at Metro.
Bosch's powerful hammer drill has kickback control to help work go more smoothly, which is good when your job comes with high expectations. Bosch Tools, what hard workers deserve. Learn more at BoschTools.com.
The trio is back.
Better than ever, with so much more fun.
More mischief.
More action.
Go Blue!
More ghosts. more mystery.
Hulu, Disney Plus, and ESPN Plus. All of this and so much more with the Disney Bundle.
Back here inside the women's building, ACC Volleyball action. And Drew, we talked before the break, the foreign influence in this Georgia Tech program, but break that down, a whole lot of Brazil on that list.
For sure, Griffin. 6 Brazilians, 1 from Argentina for a total of 7, including all 3 coaches, led by head coach Michelle Collier.
Michelle Collier, long career playing professionally after her collegiate days at USF. A long collegiate career on that attacking kill by Afedo Mignon in her 5th year, the transfer from TCU.
Mignon again just getting that ball served to her, set for her brilliantly, and making the Orange pay.
Otene back to serve as Georgia Tech continues to grow their lead, but Greta Schlichter, she's small in stature, a primarily back row type player, but due to some injuries and not a lot of depth right now in the Syracuse program, she's been asked to go hit, and she's been pretty effective.
And Griffin, that's something Coach Ganesh-Ratnam really talked to us about earlier in the week. Schlichter as well as Lauren McCabe showing their versatility and being willing to fill voids that this Orange team had.
Whatever is best for the team. Saw the dig there by Schlichter. Near side again, second one by Bertolino. Back set, Mignon stuck up by Lauren McCabe. Doesn't matter, it's out. And Georgia Tech growing their lead now to 5.
And McCabe that time did everything right, went up for the block, just could not have it fall her way. A little bit too much on the outside of her hand there, which saw it carry over the line.
Second time we've seen Liz Patterson. Quick set in the middle. High pointing, that was Little Jones. Another cross-court approach, stuck up again by McCabe. Whole lot of action on the net. It'll be a point for Georgia Tech as Layla Smith was caught underneath the net on the wrong side.
And Layla Smith just again getting too close to the net there. You saw her jumping up right there on the replay, coming down, clipping the tape, and that was what the official spotted.
So a timeout on the floor, largest lead of the afternoon for Georgia Tech, now grows to 6. But Georgia Tech, they have a lot of international players. Syracuse, they have the same. It's been a really unique experience so far in 2 years for head coach Bakir Ganesh-Ratnam, really trying to go international, especially with those top 2 players, 2 freshmen in Schlichter and Liedermuller.
And Schlichter, Liedermuller playing together in their youth days with the German national team, something that coach was trying to have that duo, already some chemistry coming in, and then Charlene Antonio as well, the leading kill woman for this Orange team, the transfer from junior college really being involved here for Syracuse.
But it's also the coaching staff with international flavor. Coach Ganesh-Ratnam from Sri Lanka, Coach Hakiyama from Japan, and Polina Sheminova. I mean, this Georgia Tech team, if you're watching down in Georgia, you know a whole lot about Polina. 5 years in the program, one of the best ever in SU history, and she'll be down there in Atlanta not too far away as she'll be beginning her professional career down in Atlanta as her season starts in January. So coming out of the timeout, maybe Syracuse found something that they had to tweak in their offense, maybe in serve receive as well. Patterson, another serve. Suzanne, quick set in the middle, putting everything into that hit, siding out with some emphasis by Layla Smith.
And Layla Smith just continuing to be a force for this Orange team, sneaking that one in the back corner.
No better feeling than coming out of a timeout and getting the ball right back. Alyssa Burt. Back set. Hard hit by Schlichter. It sends it over, though. Another chance for Georgia Tech. And Afedo Mignon, I mean, oh my goodness, hitting straight down.
And Young just really coming out here early in set one on that right side once again, climbing the ladder and slamming that one home.
Extremely efficient too already with 3 kills and 5 tries. Coming around on the slide. Another chance for Georgia Tech. Miscommunication haunts the orange. So it looks like playing that one easily could have been Alyssa Burt or Schlichter. Instead, it's Lauren McCabe coming all the way over. Now a 7-point Georgia Tech lead.
Yeah, Griffin, McCabe just kind of stuck her arm out there, was a Hail Mary attempt, and in the end, it cost the orange.
See if the orange can respond. Instead, it's a solo block by the sophomore, Anna Bosey, in the middle for the Yellow Jackets.
And Griffin, Bosey is a player who just continues to really get better every single match for Georgia Tech. Missing Liv Mogridge today due to injury, and Coach Collier is saying that Bosey's one who just continues to grow as a player.
Raina Hughes gets it back for Syracuse, tip off the block, and another kill for one of the really bright spots, especially on the pins for this SU program. Raina Hughes dealt with knee injury early on throughout the season, starting to come back and get to 100%. Here, Leader Mueller, one of 2 setters for the Orange. To Bertolino. Long set over. Lauren McCabe off the top of the tape. No chance for the Orange, and starting to look grim in the first set if you're SU.
And sometimes, Griffin, those balls off the tape are the hardest to deal with. You don't know necessarily where that ball is going to end up, and the Orange just unable to respond after that deflection.
Look at that serve. 49 on the season for Bianca Bertolino.
Bertolino showing why she truly is one of the best serving players in the ACC and the country as a whole.
Well, she'll have a few more chances coming out of this timeout to get to that illustrious number 50 that we talked about in the pregame. That has not happened a whole lot, not just in the Yellow Jacket program, but across the country. She did have the solo lead going into the Friday night match against Boston College, but you know, records don't last forever. She's now sitting at number 3. Look at this crowd, Drew. It's coming out. Looks like a lot of fun out there in the crowd, but Bianca Bertolino, she's having a whole lot of fun on the court.
And being involved in more ways. See her with the kill there. And second kill on the left side, and then ultimately also at the service line. Just one that showing she can do it in more ways than one. And again, just talking about the depth that this Georgia Tech team has, finding offensive prowess from more than just Tamara Otene.
Well, you look at the distribution right now. Bertolino leads the way with 6 kills for Georgia Tech and 13 tries, but you have 2 other players, Mendez and Mignon, both having 3. And on the SU side, it's 3 players tied with 2. So you see the discrepancy between these 2 times. Limited depth, not a lot of numbers on the Syracuse side, and many more options for Georgia Tech. That's primarily why they're number 11 in the country.
And even for Syracuse, while they don't have many options, spreading the wealth is so important as far as creating attacks, and it's something that, to their credit, they've found ways to really bring to the table.
Especially without their go-to option, Charlene Antonio. Serve receive, much improved for SU. Another dig by Schlichter. She's playing very well. Quick set in the middle, just hammering it. You could tell the timing wasn't there between D'Amico and Bosey in the middle, and it results in an attacking error.
As you mentioned, Griffin, the timing not quite right, and that ball just had a little bit too much loft on it. You could see it hang up in the air and just kind of graze over that back line, and that's one that Georgia Tech would arguably like to have back.
Lena Brooking on the season, just 4 service aces, pretty conservative out there on the service line, and sometimes when you're not very aggressive, it turns into automatic points on the other side as we're at set point.
And it was Bosey right there in front, recognizing that ball was coming her way, redirecting it right back where it came from, and getting the Yellow Jackets one step closer to taking set number 1.
Viola Pimentel trying to wrap things up in the first set. Bump set by Burt Schlichter, another hit off the block. Schlichter, team high 3 kills for the freshman.
Greta Schlichter really being involved heavily on that left side, finding ways to be creative, sneak through perhaps, and be a little bit disguised for Georgia Tech, and she's found ways to contribute early.
Sorry, Harris Waddy. No kills so far today. Hard hit by Mendez. Long run for Liedermuller. Free ball attempt. Georgia Tech trying to wrap things up, and they will. Deandra Pierce with the exclamation point, and Georgia Tech wins the first set 25-16. After going back and forth in the beginning, it was all Yellow Jackets in the back half of the first set. As we'll take a quick break, Georgia Tech with a 1-0 lead. You're watching ACC Volleyball.
Kind of get adjusted, be acclimated, and responded well, coming away with the 5-set match victory.
Bella D'Amico already 12 assists. How about let's add a service ace to that category?
D'Amico having that ball knuckle at the last second. You can see it there just dropping in front of Schlichter.
Such a diverse player. He's already earned a whole lot of accolades in the ACC. High arcing hit. Bertolino, somehow that falls. Alyssa Burt, her eyes were right on the line. She wasn't pleased, and we're gonna be more concerned about the dig. And hopefully Tamara Otene is okay.
Yeah, Otene went up there. The ball a little bit behind her, came down awkwardly on that left ankle, and she was very slow to get up, still bending over, now trying to see if she can continue to put some weight on it. And Griffin, if Otene cannot continue, this would be a huge loss for Georgia Tech.
Well, they're gonna sub her out right now, checking in Lauren Sandin for the Yellow Jackets. At least there's some smiles going on right now. It doesn't appear to be too serious, but as you're transitioning later into conference play, you want to be as cautious as you can to make sure that Otene is there in the postseason.
For sure, and Georgia Tech playing it smart, recognizing that even if it is just a small injury, keep Otene on the sidelines for right now, and then if she can go again later on, incorporate her back in the lineup.
Absolutely, can come back in and set. Awkward hit there by Sandin. Another hit by Greta Schlichter, who's already approaching double-digit digs. That one will be out for a game-high 7 kills. First attacking error for Bianca Bertolino.
And it was brilliant heads-up awareness right there for Alyssa Burt, recognizing that that ball was hit too strong, saw it all the way to the line, and saved that point for Syracuse.
Sorry, Harris Waddy just has a fastball of a serve. It can overpower some players in the back row, a little too strong there, in a 3-1 lead. As Sandin will check out. Coming in, Leah Harper, first time we've seen the junior from Martinsburg, West Virginia. Always have to be weary of this serve right here by Bertolino. Hammered into the net. That timing, Drew, the error of defeat between a really good serve and something off. It's so minuscule, as you saw there.
100%. It's all about that fine window, you know, threading the needle, and right there for Bertolino, just a bit off the mark.
You never see this team shoot themselves in the foot. Second service error of the day. Schlichter trying to go cross court, and it'll be a point for Syracuse. In the net, another violation called. We saw them have a few of those in the beginning of the first set. Syracuse trying to just take advantage of any points that they can.
And that's something, when you're coming into a match like this one for Syracuse, recognizing that things are heavily against you, you've got to take those points any way you can get them.
Harper's first attack will result in an error, and SU regaining their first lead since midway through the first set. Veronica Searzan coming off a double-double, the first of her collegiate career against the Clemson Tigers. Harper's second hit, that one falls, trying to go straight down the line.
And that's exactly what Harper did there, Griffin. If at first you don't succeed, try again. The mentality for Leah Harper, the junior, just gliding that one down the white paint.
Paola Pimentel, two-time Defensive Player of the Week, also the reigning in the ACC. Somehow Syracuse keeps that alive. Schlichter off-balanced. Another hit near side for Mendez, straight down. Too big of a hole back there in the power alley, and Syracuse defensively, you can see that sometimes they're just not having the best communication in the back row.
And right there, Griffin, we saw a little bit too much of a gap between the front row and the back row for Syracuse, and the Yellow Jackets, with the experience that they have, recognizing that and sneaking it in the gap.
We'll pick it apart all day long, and at first it looked in, and our line official saying, wait, no, that hit my foot, I'm out of bounds, so that can't be in.
Yeah. Alyssa Burt thought she had it, and as we see here on the replay, yep, that ball just outside the white.
Yeah, I think Coach would have maybe had a heart attack if that would have stood. Layla Smith going around on the slide over the double block. The Alabama transfer, you can tell she's getting back to 100% too after having a concussion, had COVID in the early part of ACC play, and just having bodies back and actual front row players in the lineup and in the rotation for Syracuse. It's just such a big difference from early on in the season.
And especially late in the season like this.
Oh, wow. What a serve. That was a 12-6 curveball. Greta Schlichter.
You see it here on the replay. Schlichter timing that right. What a bunch of swerve. I mean, that ball moved, it dropped, it did just about everything.
Syracuse, they've seen progression in the serving department throughout the season, had 4 last game. That was their first of the day. Back over to Harper through the double block of Hughes and Layla Smith. That's happened a few times so far today.
And that's something with the plethora of experience that Georgia Tech brings to the table. They find ways to sneak balls through that double block, and we saw it right there once again to give the Yellow Jackets the lead.
Back to serve will be Eloise Soares, a freshman of the week back in early September, and she might have another freshman of the week if she continues to serve like she just did.
And that time it was just, again, miscommunication from the Orange, not being in the right position to receive the set from her teammates, and you saw Raina Hughes almost carry into her own bench.
4th service ace of the day for the Yellow Jackets. Free ball attempt. Quick set by Soares, just tipping it over, but Burt smelt it out. Searzant, Layla Smith, that connection, it just still takes some time. A freshman setter, a player who hasn't been in the lineup a whole lot. That's the growing pains of being a young rebuilding program.
And it's something that you just have to chalk up to youth and inexperience. It's frustrating at times, but those kinks will be ironed out as this team grows together.
Hammered right into the net by Lauren McCabe. Was one of the most efficient players on this Syracuse team early on in the season. That was an attacking error, and Georgia Tech, they got the lead back, and it's a 4-point lead. You're watching ACC Volleyball on ACC Network Extra.
Geico makes car insurance as easy as loving Parmesan.
Say when. Say when.
You win 3x. Pick 4 right, you win 10x. And if you pick 6 right, you win 25x you count.
Doesn't don't get no better than this.
Oh, but it does. Because right now, Prize Picks is matching your first deposit up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy made easy.
Well, Georgia Tech, they didn't really stay in the huddle for very long during that timeout. And when you're controlling this match as the Yellow Jackets have so far today, I don't think you really need to, Drew.
Absolutely. You know, that's one of those instances for Coach Collier where it's, listen, ladies, everything's going our way. Just keep doing what we're doing.
Lauren McCabe, she had an attacking error going into the break, coming out. It's the second time where Syracuse has responded like that.
For sure, and that's something that's a huge note to bring to the table, because the last time you and I did a game, Griffin, against North Carolina, Syracuse really struggled coming out of timeouts. And it's something that you love to see the response from Coach Garnish-Rottenham's young squad.
So after referees had to talk something over, Alyssa Burt, Colorado State transfer from 2 years ago. Long run. No free ball attempt, but the block was there for SU. Second hit goes out of play, and Pierce could tell she was jumping up and down. Oh, why did I hit that? We have 3 hits. Just got a little too aggressive.
And sometimes when you're a strong team like Georgia Tech, the aggression is always there, but it ends up being too much at times and brings Syracuse back within 2.
Yeah, patience is a virtue. Harris-Waddy, friendly fire on the serve by Burt.
You could just see it right there. Burt mistiming the jump, released it hit the ball rather too late, and just not enough time and air for it to get over the net.
So still in the rotation, Lauren Sandin, we saw early on in the second set, our highlighted player for Georgia Tech, Tamara Otene. She's still being held out. She's standing up, not receiving any medical attention as Georgia Tech gets another point to grow their lead. That's definitely something we're going to keep our eyes on, and hopefully we might see OTN back in this match maybe at some point. I'm going to say in the third set.
Yeah. And Griffin, right there, we just saw the serve from Sandin hitting the top of the net, dropping right back onto her own half of the court. But again, you know, just hope everything is okay with Otene, not wanting to risk anything. You can tell Georgia Tech wanting to play it smart, play it safe, and make sure she really is 100%.
3-point game. Lita Mueller trying to change that in SU's favor. Not with hits like that on the outside. It has been fun to watch. Bianca Bertolino.
Bertolino just continuing to be a force on that left side, being set up brilliantly and finishing that rally off.
She had another double-double against Boston College. 19 kills, very efficient at 34%, 14 digs. On her way to another impressive performance, already with 8 kills. Bertolino again. How about back-to-back for you?
Bertolino, once again, just continuing to dominate on that left side, as you see here on the replay, being set up brilliantly, going cross-court, and the ball just drops in front of Schlichter, who may have been caught on her heels ever so slightly.
Coach Collier told us, Drew, that was another hard hit, first kill of the day. We've been waiting for it from Zaria Harris-Waddy coming midway through the second set. But back to my original point, Coach Collier is telling us we need to do a better job controlling things right from the jump. We're a great team. We can have our backs against the wall, but we need to make sure that we're going to tune things up at this point in the season, really control this match from the start.
And that's something, if you can control the match from the beginning, it really dictates the tempo, and Georgia Tech showing over the course of the season so far that controlling the tempo has led to victories left and right.
Bertolino has changed her approach so much, going cross-court, line approach, and catching Mira Lita Mueller sleeping for her 9th kill.
Bertolino picking up right where she left off Friday night against Boston College, had 19 in that 5-set thriller against the Golden Eagles, and wanting to add insult to injury on this road trip for the weekend.
It's the 3rd set played all season long for Zoe Winford. Dug out well in the back row. Another hit straight down, and the intended target was Lita Mueller again, and there is nothing you can do.
And Lita Mueller thought she had it, but just too hot to handle, and now the Orange calling another timeout.
So now 11 kills for Bertolino. This one, picture perfect.
Timing the jump right, slamming that one home, and look at the smile on that face. She knew immediately that an Orange player was not on the receiving end of that ball.
So a preseason all-ACC type player. Came out of the gates a little slow, but you also have such a balanced roster where you're not going to have a high amount of total attacks, maybe like a Charlene Antonio, when you're that go-to option. You're the only player out there. But when she is called upon, more times than not, Bertolino is going to come through, be efficient in every single facet of the game.
Coming up clutch when you're called upon is a strong, strong asset, and it's something that Bertolino, we see it time and time again with her, finding ways to be involved, getting a little quiet at times, and then just reminding Syracuse that she is in fact still on the court, and with smiles like that, it's just a reminder of, hey, did you forget about me?
Otto making his appearance in the second set, trying to rally the fans and the troops. It's been very supportive throughout this year at home for SU. And everybody recognizes that something special is being built. It's just going to take some time, and Georgia Tech's a great example of that. Took them 3 to 5 years to get back to the top of the conference, and It's a very deep league. A lot of parity, and anything can happen. We'll see if Syracuse coming out of this break and make their way back in the second set. Hard hit in the middle, third time today coming out of the timeout. Syracuse siding out with emphasis. Second kill for Zaria Harris-Wadi.
Harris-Wadi starting to heat up at the right time, getting it brilliantly placed to her by Liedermuller, slamming that one home in front of a diving Pimentel.
Harris-Wadi. Straight down. Look at the recognition by Sierzan.
Sierzan getting involved over on that right side. The ball just kind of popped up to her and saw that she had an opportunity, caught Bertolino maybe in a little bit of a mid-set nap and bringing the Orange one step closer.
She was due for a kill, now 1 for 7. Looks like coming around on a slide, deception, and sometimes offense can spark you defensively. Solo block for the freshman Sierzan.
Defense is the best offense, and you saw it right there. A block of Sierzan, strong two hands. The back row from Georgia Tech sucked up and just dropping that ball in behind.
Hard serve. Over the top, Sierzan was there. Georgia Tech regroups. Bertolino can't get it over. Third time she does. Finding the hardwood cross court. Georgia Tech, they are so resilient, unfazed, time and time again. It doesn't matter, Drew. They will stay at it and continue to work.
And that ball right there from Bertolino just past the block of Sierzan, who has used her size to her advantage over on that right side.
It's a 4-point game. Second service error now for Bertolino on that difficult serve. You can tell, a little frustrated with herself at the service line, but she can't be offensively because she has 12 kills in 23 tries, almost hitting 40%.
And when you are a player like Bertolino, who's used to success in more facets than one, it can be frustrating when things aren't working at times.
That one almost came and hit us in the booth. Hard slide and showing the versatility again. Callie Unkman. Middle from Excelsior, Minnesota. Another player hasn't seen a high workload. Bump set near side for Schlichter. Easy one for Georgia Tech. Back row, Bertolino called, going past that 10-foot line into the front row.
And it's just the lack of awareness there for Bertolino, recognizing that she was close to the line, but then being caught up in the action so much that things just got away from her, taking one step over, and it's an easy call at the end of the day.
Greta Schlichter, team high 4 kills in 12 tries. Coming off 5 kills last match. Free ball attempt. Syracuse trying to make it. It's a 2-point game. Nice save. Cross court again. Long run for Burt. And a free ball attempt again. Both teams finally with their feet underneath them. Keeping it alive after the hit by Pierce. Raina Hughes. 50-50 chance. Soares again. Far side, straight down. Look at the thump of that volleyball. Leah Harper. She's had some emphatic kills, and the Georgia Tech bench is loving it.
And Leah Harper, once again, a player that you don't really see a whole lot of, but when she's on the court, her presence is felt. Another long rally. Georgia Tech going to its bread and butter, finding a way to stay strong, just continuing to be aware and coming out on top there in that rally.
Eloise Soares. 1 kill, 1 try, 9 assists, 3 digs. Back set, Raina Hughes. That was all Harper. Another set to Harper. Got to get her a heat check now.
And Leah Harper really heating up late here in set 2. Just set up for her once again brilliantly and making the Orange pay.
Starting to run away. 5-point Georgia Tech lead, the number 11 team in the country. But the Orange still trying to play spoiler. Dug out well in the back row, jump set, hit by Harper. Out of play, looking for a touch. Looks like this might result in a challenge.
Coach Collier, frustrated, thought that ball snuck its way into the back corner. And we are, in fact, getting the challenge.
See Coach Collier immediately. She coaches so close to the floor that it gives you, I think, a better set of eyes that you can see what's actually going on, even from just a few more inches closer.
For sure, and it gives you that distance, that less distance that you don't generally have if you're a coach like Ganasharatnam, who is much further away from the court. You see it here on the replay. And that ball definitely coming down out of play. Coach Collier maybe thought that with the line judge trying to get out of the way there, spinning his body, that he didn't necessarily have the best angle, but ball doesn't lie, and that one coming down in the blue outside the court.
Maybe he's still looking for that tip. You could see maybe the ring finger on the left hand of Ayla Smith, maybe going backwards there. Difficult to see. This will be the perfect view of it. Ugh. This is why I'm not a ref.
And again, Griffin, I think this just comes down to too close to call, and in that situation, you've got to go with a call on the floor. But to your point, these officials have very thin margins of error, and that deflection could have been ever so slight.
You can tell, it looks like her hand is already going back because Smith is on the descent down, same with Hughes. But it might hit the tippy top of her finger. Well, it's a built-in timeout, not just for the players on the court, for us, all the fans. Very engaged crowd here at the women's building, the campus of Syracuse University, and that is the one we were looking for. I am going to predict that it gets overturned because of that one right there and our amazing crew with all these different angles.
Absolutely, you saw it right there, just changing the spin ever so slightly, and can ultimately tell that deflection called.
So a successful challenge after going 0 for 1 for Coach Collier, and now 1 for 2. Expanding the lead to 6, closer to 25, and potentially a 2-0 lead in the match. It's been a string on the service line for Eloise Soares. Soares, one of many players hailing from Brazil. For near side, Lauren McCabe, tip off the block. Soares, another back set. Mignon, dug out, doesn't matter. Schlichter has been so aggressive in putting her body on the line, sprawling out all day long, and she's the spark plug that this Orange team is going to be so happy to have.
And with a ball that was hit as hard as that one was, Schlichter showing off there a little bit, even being able to get anything underneath of it, but unfortunate for the freshman from Germany to not have that one carry into play.
Long run by Burt. Over to Lauren McCabe. It's an awkward-looking attack. Almost went in. Almost isn't going to cut it. Now it's an 8-point lead for the Yellow Jackets. Served by Soares off the top of the tape. One hand on. What a save and a point. That might have SC Top 10 written all over it.
Brilliant play right there by the Orange, recognizing that teamwork makes the dream work. You see here on the replay, deflecting off the top of the tape, a diving effort from Schlichter and the strong left hand from Sierzant.
That was crazy. Georgia Tech gets it right back to make it set point. But hey, you're taking the small wins. Coolest play of the day so far? Obviously the Orange.
Absolutely, and that's something that Coach Ganasharatnam is really stressing. Find the small wins, find those positives, and that's one right there that you just saw, something that is really a building block for this team going forward.
No quit in this Orange squad. Serve receive over to Sierzant. Raina Hughes jumping to the heavens, hitting straight down. Hughes already with 3 kills today.
Syracuse not going down without a fight. See on the replay, Searzant setting it for Raina Hughes. Strong left hand, too hot to handle for Pimentel, and the Orange living to fight another day.
Scratching and clawing, that's what this team does. Still at set point. Suarez going to the reliable option. Still a chance for SU. Jump set, Mignon straight down. Jump set. Just trying to settle things down now on the Yellow Jacket side. Suarez. Now SU's the aggressor, looking for a tip. Point goes to the Yellow Jackets. What a volley to end the second set. And when talking to Coach Ganesh Ratnam, he said that the younger players, the players who are playing out of position, they've learned so much since that time, and that's why, in comparison to those first few matches, much more competitive here today.
And it's something that's just all about individual growth over the course of a season.
It is just an absolute hammer of a hit by Afedo Mignon, the TCU transfer. Look at how she hits straight down, time and time again.
Straight down past the outstretched hands of Alyssa Burt. And in that situation, you just got to tip your cap to Mignon and recognize that Coach Collier found a gem in the transfer portal.
Viola Pimentel, 14 digs in the back row, averaging about 4.5 per set. Their leader Mueller, near side, Veronica Searzant. Another hit near side for Harper. Looked like that was tipped. It was. Georgia Tech, 2-0 lead.
Slightest deflections tell the greatest stories, and that one right there, ever so delicately off the hand of Searzant, enough to swing this back to Georgia Tech.
Very close to the net, one-hand tip over by Harris Waddy for her third kill.
Harris Waddy, once again, the little deflections over the top can be the biggest kills that tell the story, and Harris Waddy just continuing to find ways to be involved.
Still looking for her first ace of the day. Syracuse just has 2 as a team. Harris Waddy, intended target, Slichter. Doesn't matter if you have a double block or a 3-person block or every player on the court. I still think that Afedo Mignon can get it through.
Oh, 100%. She's going to find a way for that ball to sneak through. Recognize there the little bit of a size advantage in her favor with Schlichter going up in that block as well and just sneaking it past her shoulder.
Second straight set, we've seen Zoe Winford, and how about the response there in the middle by Layla Smith?
Layla Smith responding very well. She was a player that Coach Collier talked about to us as one that could make a difference, and that's exactly why, just sneaking that past the hands of Pierce and bringing the Orange back within 1.
Layla Smith had 6 kills against Clemson, has 4 right now. Veronica Searzant, 10 kills, 16 tries last match. Coming around on the slide, Deandra Pierce, and this offense is clicking for Georgia Tech.
And Pierce on the receiving end of a little bit of bad luck the play before. This time, luck falling in her favor, timing that jump to perfection for the kill.
As a team right now, Georgia Tech hitting a little bit over 34%. Number growing for Syracuse, above their season average. Slide attempt and went through the legs of Winford. It's like a goalie right there. 5-hole caught him.
And that'll boost the hitting numbers a little bit, Griffin. Layla Smith recognizing that space on the right side, setting her body up, going cross court, and nothing Winford could do but watch and pray for the best.
The Alabama transfer into this program is trying to do whatever she can to keep Syracuse in it for the long haul. Long set over, near side, dug out by Burt. Raina Hughes, tip over, one-hand save. We saw Schlichter do it earlier, and now Georgia Tech has a chance. Torres, second straight slide, second straight kill for Pierce.
And Griffin, right there, that kill goes back to the diving effort from Sandin. as we see on the replay, that ball as good as gone, but Sandin recognizing that she had everything to play for and ultimately gave the Yellow Jackets the point.
Another time we see Liz Patterson serve. Patterson, easy dig. Another hit in the middle, one hand, two hand save. Not enough time for Burt to get there.
Just one of those balls that took a handful of deflections, the latest one off of Schlichter. And unfortunately, Burt, wrong place, wrong time to try and have a shot at that one.
Engelman with the kill with that bulky left knee brace in the middle. Second straight try. Raina Hughes stuck up on the block and hits off Lauren McCabe. This is sometimes throughout some of the previous matches, Drew, where the wheels start to fall off for Syracuse. Sometimes you just have to take a deep breath and realize it's not over. It's only a 4-point game. They've came back from other deficits so far today.
It's all about that mental reset, Griffin, focusing on 1 point at a time, and it's something that hopefully the Orange can start to execute.
Greta Schlichter just did a barrel roll on serve receive. Right place, right time, just picking apart this defense. It's more impressive for what Georgia Tech is able to do offensively than anything that Syracuse is potentially doing wrong. It's an early timeout for SU. 8-3 is your score. We'll step aside. You're watching ACC Volleyball on ACC Network Extra.
Upgrade, ready, upgrade, ready, one.
Patrick's saying T-Mobile lets you upgrade as often as every year.
Take charge with the freedom to upgrade every year with Go 5G Next at T-Mobile.
Also, he's hungry.
BetterHelp takes the stigma out of getting counseling.
There's so many people who still have that stigma of going to a physical office or a location to see a therapist.
If I'm a client and I'm looking for help, sometimes it feels like something we should be ashamed of or we shouldn't want others to know.
BetterHelp is important because it reduces the barriers for people getting access to mental health care.
NFL football, Little Caesars, and my lucky chair. I'm not changing anything.
Morning, Daryl.
Morning, Trash. Yeah! Good night, honey.
Good night.
Then over here with the gross premium market. Yeah, questions?
George Kittle, what keeps you going all season long?
Little Caesars Pizza, and of course my guy Daryl and his lucky chair.
Yes! Did you hear that, Susan? That's because of the chair.
Daryl gets it. He knows the four-quarter calzone from Little Caesars is officially delicious.
Pizza.
Thanks for joining us here on the broadcast. Little ACC volleyball on a Sunday afternoon between number 11 Georgia Tech and the Syracuse Orange. Griffin Della Penna here alongside Drew Von Sayo. Georgia Tech out to a 2-0 lead in the match. 25-16, 25-17, and already a 5-point lead after a nice little scoring run that called an early Coach Ganesh Ratnam timeout. Another attacking error for Lauren McCabe, who's one step closer to double digits now for the Yellow Jackets.
And Griffin, this is the first time today where we've seen, out of the timeout, Syracuse not taking the first point, something that has been in their favor over the course of this match, but things just not falling in place right now.
Layla Smith, she has been the offense so far for SU in the third set. Nice recognition by Veronica Searzant to let that sail out of play.
Searzant was there, ready for it, but saw that she was tiptoeing the line a little bit, pulled her arms back, and watched as that one dropped into the blue.
Bianca Bertolino with the attack error. So 12 kills to now 5 errors offensively. Long run by Soares. Second straight. Actually, they're going to give that a point for the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, Bertolino went up for the attack, just kind of snuck that one down the line. See it here on the replay, jumping up. And that ball, a lot of tail to it. Searzant thought it was carrying out of play, but it just snuck in that back door.
A very perfectly executed cut shot. Mueller jump hit. McCabe. Harris Waddy. Another chance for Georgia Tech on the free ball. Harris Waddy sends it into the net. the timing with Liedermuller coming in is different than Veronica Searzant when the two are the primary setters in this 6-2 formation, just based on what they have available right now. No Charlene Antonio. We haven't seen Ariana Jobert in a while. Makes things very hard offensively.
And it also just makes things hard overall, trying to develop chemistry and establish a consistent lineup.
Two-hand bump. If you're going up one-on-one with a Fado Mignon, it's not gonna go well for you. I'm just gonna put it that way.
Yeah, that's about as good as you can sum it up. I mean, Fado Mignon just continuing to drive this Georgia Tech offense in the absence of Otene, and to her credit, along with Bertolino, finding ways to make it happen.
Service error by Eloise Soares. Syracuse gets a much-needed point. 7-point game. You also have to keep in mind, too, Drew, that this Georgia Tech team does not have Liv Mogridge right now. Coming off a knee injury, was almost ready to go today, decided not to, a little precautious, but she was one of the best players in the entire ACC last year as a freshman with UNC.
And it's something that her presence is being missed for this Georgia Tech team, but there is enough depth. Coach Collier confident in players like Anna Bosey to go out there, get the job done, and that's exactly what we've seen. And then also Callie Engelman getting involved too. And just, again, a tribute to how deep this Georgia Tech team really is.
So Lauren McCabe coming out, Melina Brooking checking in, having to change the defensive formation now for the Orange and serve receive, trying to set up their offense. It'll be another serve for Bianca Bertolino. Bianca Searzant tip off the block. Harper, she's had a very quiet but impressive day. Leah Harper, 7 kills in 10 tries off the bench.
And it's something for Syracuse just being unable to defend too many bodies to try and pick up, and Leah Harper making the most of her opportunities.
So we'll take a look at everything else that Georgia Tech has done offensively, and we would be remiss if we didn't talk about Bianca Bertolino just from the jump and the difference in the offensive approach that she has. She can go power alley. She really just mixes it up, Drew.
And that's something that, if you're Coach Collier, you want to see. Find ways to be unpredictable. And that's what Bertolino's doing. If you're unpredictable with your shots, the direction, the location of them, it makes it extremely difficult to defend. And Bertolino has just given the Orange nightmares left and right.
So she's 3 digs away from a double-double. Also have to note that we have not seen Tamara Otene after her injury in the second set. Probably precautionary because she has been standing this whole time, does have a bag of ice on her left knee. And if you remember that play, she was in the back row and just came down awkwardly after jumping up in the air to try to save a ball after a tip off the block.
Yeah, a little bit of a awkward landing, pressure on the left ankle, left knee perhaps buckling a little bit. And generally, whenever you see players with ice on their knee like that, it's a sign that unless it comes down to truly needing her, she's pretty much going to be done for the day. And it's great recognition from Coach Collier to trust in her other players, but also be safe rather than sorry in the aspect of Tamara Otene's health.
Georgia Tech trying to win in 3 sets. A little sweep. Sorry, Harris-Wadi coming out of another timeout. 4 for 5 on the day. Syracuse has immediately gotten the ball right back.
It's all about those little wins, Griffin, finding ways to contribute. Zaria Harris-Wadi right out of the gate from the timeout doing just that.
Lena Brooking came in for Lauren McCabe. A 3-ball attempt. Instead, Leah Harper swinging away, and Syracuse off balance, not ready for it, and starting to set in. Maybe another sweep on the horizon, as Syracuse, they've either won or lost in 3 sets in 18 of their 21 matches so far this year. So it's winning quickly or losing in a quick pace. Nice hard hit coming to the scorer's table. Drew Von Sayo helping out with a little assist back to the floor. Another kill for the Orange.
got to find ways to contribute.
8-point set. Harris Waddy has picked up her 4th kill. Menyan swinging away. Slowly but surely creeping to double digits. Menyan now 9 kills in 16 tries. Incredibly efficient.
Jump time to perfection. Saw the gap in the back row there between Liedermuller and Brooking and just threaded the needle with that attack.
Side Sierzant. Great recognition in the air. Still gets a free ball attempt. Syracuse in the driver's seat. Soares, quick set. Harper, touch off the block. Campfire in the middle. 4 Syracuse bodies, all not in the right place at the right time.
And that's something that we've seen a lot of, Griffin. Syracuse, especially in those longer rallies, finding ways to get caught out of position. And at that point for Georgia Tech, it's just a matter of picking the defense apart.
Largest lead of the day for Georgia Tech is 10, make it now 11. SU already has used both of their timeouts in the 3rd set. Georgia Tech getting some other reserve players involved like Zoe Winford. Set by Liedermuller, off the mark, still getting it over for Schlichter. It's just a hitting display for the Yellow Jackets right now. And with the weekend that they've had, Drew, I would not be surprised if the Yellow Jackets creep back into the top 10 in the country.
For sure, 2 strong performances. And if you are a high school volleyball coach, AAU coach, just show your girls everything that Georgia Tech is doing.
Layla Smith has been one of the bright spots for this Syracuse team. Tying what she had in her last match with 6 kills. She's hitting 40% too. Liedermuller checks out. Raina Hughes back in. A lot of youth on the floor right now for Syracuse, and that doesn't come to a surprise. It's saved by Bertolino. Sierzant back set. Raina Hughes with the left hand, and miscommunication results in another SU point.
That ball there just had a lot of knuckle on it. Watching on the replay, it was Hughes just dropping that one in over the top. Bertolino and Pimentel both trying to get a hand on it, but sneaking it right there into no man's land.
It's a little wet spot on the floor, and play resumes. A little bit of extra time for Veronica Sierzant. Off the top of the tape. On the slide, the Texas transfer has been lethal coming around Deandra Pierce.
Pierce continuing to be involved. And again, Griffin, it just goes back to how deep this Georgia Tech team is, finding players to contribute left and right. Pierce now 5 kills, finding ways to be involved.
Georgia Tech, if they continue to play like this, they're going to make some noise in the NCAA tournament. The way they play defensively, the offensive prowess. Oh, wow. Zoe Winfield, even to have that just go up in the air, Georgia Tech loves it. But Layla Smith should love it even more. 7 kills for the junior.
And it's something for Layla Smith, just continuing to be a force in the middle. And even with the redirect down there for the Yellow Jackets, just not enough to keep it afloat.
Greta Schlichter down by 10. Good jump hit. Bertolo dug out by Burke. Lauren McCabe. It's just not been McCabe's day so far. 3 kills in 18 tries and now 7 errors.
Sometimes, Griffin, as you well know, it's just not your day out there, and you just got to find ways to stick with it. McCabe just trying to find something that can work in her favor.
See the free points that Syracuse has given to the Yellow Jackets, 15 of them when attacking. That'll be violation called, and point for Syracuse.
The Orange just taking any point it can get right now, and it's one of those things for Syracuse, just finding ways to stick around and not go down without a fight.
Alyssa Burt, tall task, down by 10. Suarez, it's been an impressive day for the young setter. Bump hit by Harris. Waddy straight down. Nice recognition for the fifth-year middle, Lauren McCabe.
And again, McCabe just continuing to be involved, finally having one fall in her favor past the outstretched hand from Sandin.
9-point game. You can hear a pin drop inside the women's building. Well, you could hear that ball hit the floor because it was with some emphasis for Callie Engelman.
Engelman being set up brilliantly right there. All the time in the world. You saw it on her face. She knew before that ball was hit that she was coming out of that with a kill.
And our up referee had to make sure that he didn't blow his whistle to have the serve go. Quick mop-up duty. And Eloise Suarez is ready. Suarez now 24 assists. Miko, she has 15. Saved by Pimentel. Long run, awkward angle, and still Suarez sent it over. Down one player, Harris Waddy recognizing that in the far corner, and it's been the middles, I think, the story in the third set for SU.
Something that Coach Collier mentioned again, the middles for the Orange, big contributors. We've seen a lot with Layla Smith, now Zaria Harris Waddy, who probably got a little bit lucky there that Sandin stuck the arm out and got the deflection.
Harris Waddy, 6 kills, Layla Smith, 7. Probably the deepest position on this roster for SU. Hit off near Alida Mueller's foot. Potentially could have been on the line, maybe out. Instead, how about a double-digit performance for Afedo Mignon?
Mignon was heavily on the right side early in the match, now being involved on the left, and again, the production not dropping.
Bertolino, that serve is just unreal. Pump set goes out of play by Pimentel. Attacking error for Georgia Tech. Whistle on the floor. Coach Collier talking things over. And looks like she got put in her place.
Coach Collier a little bit frustrated. Probably wanting hoping that this one would be done and dusted by now, but the Orange continuing to battle, and sometimes frustration gets the better of you.
Well, she did tell us yesterday that she knew Syracuse was going to be a team that fought to the very end, a team that she really admired for that. It's difficult when you're having a tough season to stay engaged and having an optimistic attitude. You saw another kill by Callie Engelman.
Engelman being set up a little bit behind Suarez there with the set, but Engelman responding appropriately.
And it's match point now. Long run for Burt. Greta Schlichter. And that will go out of play. Looked for a touch, and the number 11 team in the country comes to Central New York as they win in 3 sets to grow